what do you think was the biggest reason the Eagles lost yesterday?
Well, listen, I would say Christian McCaffrey, C-Mac, and what he did in the fourth quarter, 3 receptions, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. You could say him. But I would say the biggest thing is what we've been talking about all season long with the Philadelphia Eagles. The inconsistency, how much, just transparent and predictable their offense is. I'm going to make a prediction right here on First Take to start out the show. There will be a new offensive coordinator in Philadelphia next season. It's the worst kept secret in the National Football League. There will be a new offensive coordinator. There's no way you can keep Patullo after what we saw. They was just too predictable. And Dan Orlovsky pointed it out on Get Up a little bit earlier today. I think there was 7 plays that Jalen Hurts was lined up behind center instead of the shotgun. All 7 times they ran the football. I mean, just no ingenuity, no innovativeness whatsoever. And even though we're going to talk about at some point A.J. Brown, some of the drop passes and the things that, you asked for the attention, you asked for the allure, whatever, you wanted the ball in your hands. There were missed opportunities yesterday. It doesn't take away from the fact that he looked like an absolute prophet. What he had been lamenting and expressed concern about with the Philadelphia Eagles all season long came to fruition. Exactly what he was saying is exactly what we ended up lamenting. The Philadelphia Eagles deserve to lose this game. They deserve to be home because they never made amends for the errors that they were suffering from all season long.
We talked about it all year. Eventually, this offense was going to catch up with them, and it happened yesterday. What?
What?
Are we surprised?
No.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Are you surprised? I mean, at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles were who we thought they were. And yesterday's performance was a microcosm of that. We've seen insufficient play. We've seen the ups and downs and the downs and the ups, and everybody tried to say, oh, they played the Washington Commanders, they're back. They played the Las Vegas Raiders, they're back. And then all of a sudden you run up against somebody who's competent at playing both sides or all 3 phases of football, and that's what happens. Everybody's going to make it about A.J. Brown. Well, they battled back from the drop that A.J. Brown had. So therefore, it's like, okay, what's your next excuse? And for all the people who are trying to hold A.J. Brown accordingly, I'm good with that. But make sure you hold Nick Sirianni accordingly, too. Jalen Hurts accordingly, too. Kevin Patullo accordingly, too. Because what we've seen is nothing new. They tried to mask it. They tried to put lip balm. They tried to put eyeliner. They tried to put mascara on it. And they tried to challenge the status quo of saying, you've been doing this all year, coming up short and falling victim to the expectations where we have had you set. And yesterday, it just showed the most.
What this was the Philadelphia Eagles offense playing too scared to win. They took 3 shots in the first half. They took a shot to Goddard. They took 2 shots to A.J. Brown. Everything else was short and intermediate. And when you look at this game, Kyle Shanahan is the person playing without a Brandon Ayuk who hasn't played all year. A George Kittle who tears his Achilles in the game. A Ricky Pearsall who was on the sideline. And like the Philadelphia Eagles were the team that were hampered. The Philadelphia Eagles was the offense that was on crutches. And when you look at this game and you pull back from it, Kevin Patullo has to be gone. Kevin Patullo shouldn't get an opportunity to even clean out his locker today after what we saw from that team. But also, Nick Sirianni has to be held accountable because he inserted himself into the offense mid-season. Yeah. And A.J. Brown, for whatever you think about his play, for whatever happened last night, what's happened during the season, these were the things that he was trying to bring up every single time you put a microphone in his place, in his face. And me, as a person who says, hey, keep locker room business would say, shut it up and fix it. And they never fixed it. And now they're home watching another team go try to hoist the sticky Lombardi.
And it's important that you bring that up because when we saw A.J. Brown on the sideline getting into it with Nick Sirianni, I don't know what the hell was said. I'm willing to bet my check. That's why. Because all of this stuff that we've been saying all season long, look at what's happening. Look at what's happening. Now, you get Jalen Hurts, you got to look at him, too, only from the standpoint, you got to look at him. They're getting into it right now, talking one another. But A.J. Brown, for him to do that, it's like, yo, this is the playoffs. This is what I've been saying. And you didn't want to listen. We didn't fix the problem. We had all these months to fix it. It never got fixed. So here we are right now. And then you look at Jalen Hurts. You're 0 for 7 on throws of 15-plus yards down the field. Listen, we can't escape certain things. Now, a couple of those plays, a couple of them were drops by A.J. Brown. We know that, okay? But in the same breath, you just look at them right now. Even Jalen Hurts going over to the sideline, there was a look on his face like, we really calling that play? Mm-hmm. We really doing that? So, again, they had ample opportunity to fix it. And here's where I'm also going to, because I consider Howie Roseman to be the best executive in the sport right now.
Right.
I will say this about Howie Roseman. Because of how gifted you have proven to be as an executive, one could easily argue, if it was necessary, you should have made a change during the season. I'm talking about mid-season from the offensive coordinator spot. You could have brought somebody in that would have been more, I mean, anybody with a speck of innovation would have done a better job than Patullo ended up doing. You didn't have to live with this all season long, which, again, contributed to the frustration of A.J. Brown.
But they did that 2 years ago on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football. They moved,
in the season?
Yeah, during the season, they moved away from their coordinators. What I saw from A.J. Brown last night, A.J. Brown is gone.
Right.
A.J. Brown,
He's
gone halfway through the season.
is getting
he
traded.
wants out, and they want him.
He wants out, and they need to want him out.
That's right.
That relationship
I agree with you.
is over. That relationship is done.
It's a lot of things that we have to consider here, and you beat me to the punch in regards to A.J. Brown, because I do not think that locker room will stay intact in Philly.
It can't.
It's been so many different crumbs that showing like, okay, it's bound to happen. We used this narrative a couple weeks ago about it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Where the bomb just exploded. And what we used to see, or what we used to say about the Philadelphia Eagles, them being the best team, talent on wise, that's still the case. But it all is for naught if everybody's not cohesive. When I look at Jalen Hurts, when I look at Saquon Barkley, they're individuals that have been able to say, hey, let's distract from the real issue and let's hold each other accountable. The first thing that Jalen Hurts says is, I take full responsibility for it. But what Jalen Hurts is not going to say is, me and Kevin Patullo ain't seeing eye to eye. And if you've seen the Hard Knocks or whatever that special was, really showcasing certain things, anybody who knows football knows, that's a little awkward. That's a little weird.
Right.
So for him, he's not going to say certain things that needs to be said. A.J. Brown will. Saquon Barkley is not. And we already know Devontae Smith is not as well. So in that type of dynamic as a team, Nick Sirianni has always had the best cure for a lot to mask a lot, and that's winning.
Yeah.
But when you're not winning, now it exposes the real truth of your locker room.
Here's what I want everybody to understand when it comes to these players. I'm going to speak as a journalist on behalf of the players in this regard. Yeah, A.J. Brown got to go. He wants to go, and they need to want him to go, and they probably want him to go. I don't disagree with anything that y'all are saying. But he's a veteran. And so what happens is this ain't some rookie that was going off at the mouth or being cryptic in his messaging or all of this stuff. No, this is a veteran that's been around the game for a long time. So it's entirely possible that he saw Patullo for what he was ahead of everybody else. Now the question is, why? Why is he seeing what Patullo's limitations were before Nick Sirianni? Why is he seeing it before Howie Roseman? Why is he saying, do you want to defend your crown or not? Because we the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. Y'all, look at the rest of the conference. Yeah. These cats are coming. Chicago's on the come up. San Francisco's coming. Seattle has arrived. L.A. is here. He's looking at the rest of the conference. He's like, this ain't gonna cut it. This is what he was saying. So we could look at him and we could say, okay, locker room stuff needs to be locker room stuff. And I get that part. I truly understand it. But what I'm saying is, you out on that football field, y'all played it. Y'all know how violent it is. You know you putting your body and your livelihood on the line. And he's like, yo, we doing it for this? What are we doing here? Y'all gonna just sit idly by and do nothing? And so on this particular day, certainly you're not talking about firing Sirianni or getting rid of the best executive in the sport or anything like that. Or you're not looking at Jalen Hurts like he can't play. This is a Super Bowl MVP. We know what he brings to the table. But it is important to point out, a player saw it, said it, and was in y'all face about it. And was ignored. Yeah. And chickens came home to roost last night. We're not going to sit here today and just talk about A.J. Brown. We got to talk about the head coach and the executive VP, the executive for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's Howie Roseman. They sat on it, and they shouldn't have.
Let's go to the team that won, though.
Yeah.
That would be the 49ers, and unfortunately for the Niners, they will now be without George Kittle because he tore that Achilles yesterday, just a horrific injury. We've seen this team be hampered with injuries from the beginning of the season. Do they have enough to win a Super Bowl? What do you think?
I don't believe they have enough, but I do believe Kyle Shanahan should be put on lifetime contract.
Like real talk.
What Kyle Shanahan has done this season is absolutely phenomenal. to get this team to play at this level without Brock Purdy at time, without Ricky Pearsall, without Trent Williams, without Brandon Ayuk the entire season. And the way that Christian McCaffrey has put this team on his back and the utilization of him by Kyle Shanahan, strategically and schematically, it is the greatest year I've ever seen a play caller have. And last night, when things were tight and when the Philadelphia Eagles were throwing swing routes to Devontae Smith in the backfield, do you know what he was doing? He was running reverse pass to Jawan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown.
What a play.
He was getting Christian McCaffrey out through the C gap and running a halfback angle because N'Kobe Dean expected him to go to the flat. Kyle Shanahan is absolutely phenomenal. And Robert Saleh on the other side, no matter what you say about what happened with him and the New York Jets, this team is undermanned. There's no Fred Warner. There's no Nick Bosa. You're playing with your 6th and your 7th linebacker. You're playing with backups on the back end. And to go into Philadelphia and win that game, it is the greatest coaching night of the entire season. I don't know if that means they can win going forward because I believe a team like Seattle is a better team. I believe a team like the Los Angeles Rams is a better team. But for them to be at this point says a lot about what they have in that locker room.
I would say this to you. When I've ever talked about Kyle Shanahan, the two things that I remembered was you being the offensive coordinator in Atlanta and blowing a 28-3 lead. And then I think about the couple of Super Bowls they lost when he had double-digit leads. I'm not going to say that anymore. This brother is a spectacular coach, It's just that simple. And you could see from the players the respect, the profound respect they have for his offensive genius. The man just knows what he's doing. It's just that simple. And Robert Saleh, as a head coach with the New York Jets, I'm not going to hold that against him. It's the New York Jets. We already know how I feel about that damn organization. It ain't his fault. They just contaminate people that come in there. For all we know, Aaron Glenn could be a hell of a coach. It's just that he's there. Okay, that's what happens. So, I mean, we know who the Jets that we're talking about. But Robert Saleh's a hell of a defensive coordinator. That pass from Jennings to C-Mac, I mean, my God, what a play call. And you're just looking at it and you're just saying to yourself, Kyle Shanahan is just special. And you're looking at a coach and you're saying a Super Bowl is eventual. But not this year because of what you said about Seattle and L.A. in particular. And I'm not going to rule out Chicago, even though I got big-time problems with their defense. But we'll get into Caleb Williams a little bit later because the brother's special. I'm just looking at Kyle Shanahan and I'm like, it's got to be a Super Bowl championship down the line. The man is just, he's special. He's got a special football mind, and he figures stuff out. And the lack of personnel, to be bereft of the personnel that he doesn't have and to still be in this position is crazy.